For 3 years, I raised my sister's children as if they were my own. I gave up my life, my time, and even my identity for them. But everything changed the day I discovered my sister had been hiding something that would make me question our entire relationship. Have you ever felt like you were losing yourself while helping others? This is the story of how I learned that sometimes the bravest way to love is to say, enough is enough. Join me as I take on the challenge of sharing my journey raising my sister's kids for years and how I finally stood up for myself. My name is Catherine, and I'm here to share a very personal story with you. I've always been close to my sister, and when she faced some tough times, I stepped in to help raise her kids. It was a big responsibility, but I was happy to support my family. I've known these kids their whole lives, and it's hard to imagine not being a part of their lives. Growing up, my sister and I were always close. We had our ups and downs like any siblings, but at the end of the day, we loved each other. When she got into a tough spot, I didn't hesitate to help out. Her kids were young, and they needed stability, so I took on a big role in their lives. I helped with school, activities, and just being there for them. It wasn't always easy, but it was worth it to see them grow and thrive. I felt like I was making a difference, and that was all that mattered. I became a part of their daily routine, helping with homework, cooking meals, and being there for bedtime stories. As time went on, I started to feel like I was shouldering more and more of the responsibility. My sister would occasionally check in, but it was clear she was struggling to get back on her feet. One of the biggest challenges I faced was balancing discipline and being a cool aunt. I wanted to be fair but firm, but sometimes it felt like I was walking on eggshells. I had to navigate their emotions, and mine, which wasn't always easy. There were times when I felt overwhelmed and didn't know if I was doing enough. I questioned whether I was making the right decisions for these kids. Despite the struggles, I kept going because I loved these kids and wanted to give them the best life possible. I put my own life on hold to focus on theirs. But there were moments that tested my patience and resolve, like when they would act out or when I had to deal with their behavioral issues. It was hard not to take it personally, but I knew I had to stay strong for them. I had to be the adult, even when it felt like they were pushing me to my limits. I remember one particularly tough day when I felt like I was at my breaking point. They had been misbehaving all day, and I just lost it. I realized then that I needed to take a step back and reevaluate my role in their lives. I was doing everything, and my sister was slowly getting back on her feet. The final straw came when my sister started to make promises she couldn't keep. She would promise the kids things and then not follow through, which made them upset and me feel like the bad guy. That was when I decided I'd had enough. I couldn't keep being the one who always said no, who always had to discipline them. It was time for me to stand up for myself and set some boundaries. I couldn't do it all on my own anymore. I deserved help and support. The conversation with my sister was tough, but necessary. I told her how I was feeling and that I couldn't keep going on like this. She listened, and for the first time we had a real conversation about what was going on. She acknowledged her part in the situation and agreed to step up. The aftermath was difficult, but it was also a turning point. My sisters started to take more responsibility, and I started to take back my life. The kids adjusted too. They realized that Mom was back in the picture, and I was no longer the primary caregiver. It was a hard journey, but it taught me a lot about family, responsibility, and boundaries. I learned that it's okay to say no, and that I don't have to do everything. I also learned that sometimes standing up for yourself is the best way to help others. I'm glad I fought back and took control of my life. If you're going through something similar, I want you to know you're not alone. It's okay to ask for help and to set boundaries. I hope my story can inspire you to take control of your life and prioritize your own well-being. If you have any thoughts or similar experiences, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. Have you ever had to set family boundaries? Subscribe for real advice on balancing family love with your well-being.
Tell me in the comments about your experience. Let's support each other.
Remember, taking care of yourself makes you better for those you love. Also, be sure to check out my next video where I discuss more about family dynamics and how to navigate tough situations. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content.